Hey, what's out? Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Austin, also known as Static Appeal. Now in today's video, I'm gonna be breaking down how I shot John Joseph's remix of Unforgettable by French Montana and Sway Lee. Now I'm gonna be covering three things. I'm gonna be covering how I planned it, how I shot it, and how I edited it, as well as including a full list of all the equipment that I used and some tips if you wanted to recreate some of the shots that I got in the video for yourself. Now, if you're not familiar with the video, we're gonna take a quick refresher and look at some of the shots from John Joseph's remix of Unforgettable.
Yeah, real driving, you know I'm vibing cause I ain't fly. The flow crying, I know you're lying to see my eyes. My soul dying, I'm so tired, these people die. I'm getting used to these hugs and kisses with no goodbyes. I'm so stupid, you left me wounded in paradise. There's no music, a single tune in that pays the price. Now I'm on a different level, y'all chickas afraid of heights. Every lover, every dream, everything's a sacrifice. Now I'm just trying to get away, get away. I've been stabbed, can't hold me back, I'm in a race, in a race. I've been starving, I'm just trying to get this plate, get this plate. Hey, forget the hate, it's a date with my fate, it's a chase. Hey, oh boy, is she a winner? My lucky number 7, I ain't perfect, I'm a sinner, I'm just trying to get to heaven. I put my mind and soul, you took my heart and left it Kevin. Yo, this life is unforgettable, I'm thankful for the blessing. Yo. I know you unforgettable, I know you unforgettable. Never wanna let you go, baby, we can take it slow, baby, we can take it on the road, baby, life is beautiful.
So when I'm planning for a video, I pretty much go off of one thing, and that's feeling. So whenever anybody sends me an idea or a track, I go off of the feeling that that idea or that track kind of ensues in me. And from there, I kind of come up with the overall tone and feeling that I want to come across in the video. So in terms of this video, when he sent it to me, I thought the song was dope, and it was kind of giving me a mysterious and kind of ominous vibe, if that makes sense. I don't know, I typically always kind of lean more towards the dark and weird type of visuals and stuff. So when I heard that, my mind immediately like exploded with ideas. So once I establish a feeling or a tone that I want, I will go into brainstorming sets and imagery that I can either build or create to support that tone. I'm gonna go into breaking down some of the shots from the video and going over my thought process on, you know, how those shots came about. So going off of the dark and mysterious tone, the opening shot is just perfect in my opinion. I found a baby grand piano that was gutted, and I was like, oh, this would be so sick to just have him sitting behind. And I was like, okay, what else can we add from there? So I found a bunch of old flowers that were just laying around, filled the piano with them, and I was like, okay, now we need some super intense lighting. So I hoisted up this fluorescent light that I built and kind of had this super direct lighting coming down on him and filled the entire atmosphere with smoke. So continuing through this opening shot, we go into, I guess what you could call a flower tunnel. That is literally a tent, like one of those tents that you see at a fair that pop up. And I was like, okay, this is long enough for you to walk through. It has a frame inside of it. Let's take a bunch of those flowers that we used in the piano and let's just hang them from that like trussing inside of the tent, and it'll just create depth and it'll create this cool environment. And in this shot here, he's in this kind of hot pink and kind of cool blue environment, and so I took 2 LED lights. They are American DJ Megapixel RGB lights. I will put the link in the description if you want to check them out. And I was like, okay, let's just fill it up with some random stuff. So I found some potted plants, like plants that you would see in the lobby of a building. And he is in front of a cloth backdrop that is a Westcott cloth backdrop. I don't know the exact specs on it, but I will find it and put the link in the description below if you want to check that out. Also, there's going to be tons of this, so be prepared. So from there, we move into the next scene, which is a caution tape haul. I am obsessed with caution tape. I don't know why. I think it kind of fits more towards like the industrial side of things, and it also kind of attributes to the dark and mysterious kind of tones a little bit. But anyway, so we took that flower haul, we stripped down all of the flowers, and then I had bought a giant roll of caution tape and cut them up, hung them, made a wall in the back of them, and then just hung random strands throughout the entire tent to create depth and to create this new environment of caution tape. And that's pretty much it in terms of sets or environments. Now let's move on to the equipment that I used to shoot this video. Now I used a Panasonic GH4 with a Canon 24-105 and a Tokina 11-16 millimeter lens. Now the Canon is a zoom lens and the Tokina is a wide angle lens. And I also have to use a Metabones Speedbooster because the Canon and the Tokina are not native to Panasonic, so that makes them compatible. And I also used a Westcott Flex LED light kit. I will put a link in the description, but these LEDs are phenomenal. Westcott is an amazing company that puts out some amazing products like full range color, temperature control, intensity control. These things are super bright. That's what I'm using right now. I also used two American DJ megapixel LED RGB fixtures, which are what creates that blue and pink environment. I'll put a link in the description for those as well. Now my favorite part, editing. Let's break this down. Okay, here we are in the project. Now let's just hit play and we'll start from here. Right off the bat, we have John sitting at the gutted piano with flowers in the middle of it. We have this awesome downward light shining through some haze, and then we also have a cool stock effect in here, which I don't typically use stock effect, but in this case I did, and it is from Rocketstock.com. It is this really cool volumetric dust. So you can see if I disable this here and re-enable it, you can really see it. So there is a layer that is in focus, and then there is a layer that is scaled up and blurred to simulate, you know, like real dust in that physical space. And you can see it really start to move right in here. This really adds a bunch of depth. Here's really cool too. So in this clip, I actually masked out John so that the dust wouldn't be put in front of him. I really wanted the dust to be kind of, you know, in the background, I guess you could say here, and just kind of pass in front of him through the light. I have the transfer mode on lighter color, which helps it to really interact with the light, and it really helps it make it look like it's interacting with like that physical light. Now, I also am using color correcting software from a third-party plugin from Red Giant. Red Giant is amazing. They have so many plugins for effects and for like color correcting. What I am typically using in this project is going to be from their Magic Bullet Suite 13. So that includes like Lux, which is primarily what I'm using in this project. So Lux. So what Lux is you have this entire catalog of pretty much already pre-graded like LUTs pretty much. I don't know if that's the correct term. I'm not an expert. I should probably look that up. But it is just so amazing for like if you're trying to get a project done super fast. But yeah, that's what I did with this. And let me show you the beforehand because it is, ooh, hold up. It is rough. This is the beforehand. It is very blue, and I am not a fan of that right there. So we threw on Lux, and you really get that intense lighting here. The shadows are so much more exaggerated. It kind of fills in the space that we don't need to see. It really, I think there may be chromatic aberration, but the lighting just is really cool. It kept the saturation and everything, and the shadows are this nice blue tone, and I just really like that, so I kept it there. But let's keep going. We have more dust right here. Dust right here. That's probably one of my favorite shots. It looks so real to me. And it's only interacting with the light. So as soon as it's coming, it goes into the shadows here. It just kind of fades away naturally, and it looks so good. And that's probably on behalf of Rocketstock. They're amazing. I'll put a link in the description for Rocketstock and Red Giant. And here we have our first transition coming up here right quick.
Yeah.
So basically, to do that, it's very simple. If you don't know how to do it, pretty much have your actor or your artist record the takes multiple times in different settings and have them do the exact same motion. So in the piano scene, I had him go, yeah. And then in the flower scene, which is what it transitions to, I also have him go, yeah. And you cut right in the middle. So right as he hits here, you cut to the next scene, which makes it kind of like a cool, seamless transition.
Yeah, real driving, you know I'm vibing.
And of course, my computer's not going to want to play stuff now because you're watching.
Cause I ain't fly, the flow crying, I know you.
Oh, okay, so this is a really cool shot. This is the white backdrop scene with the blue and the pink lighting. Now, without looks on it, it is very noticeable. Like, it is just very clear. I mean, you can see it. It's very clearly like a lighter blue here, and then you can get some like lavender, lilac tones over here. But I really used the looks to accentuate that and really help split that up.
Lying to see my eyes, my soul dying, I'm so tired, these people die.
Same thing here, like just random things to really add depth to it. So we just threw in like a fake house plant here, and with the lighting, everything just looked great.
I'm getting used to these hugs and kisses with no goodbyes. I'm so stupid, you left me wounded in paradise. There's no music, a single tune in that pays the price. Now I'm on a different level, y'all check.
This is interesting here. So a lot of people shy away, or there's this stigma around warp stabilizer. Now, warp stabilizer is software-based. It is a software-based stabilizer. So like if you're shaky, if your shots aren't stable or still, or they're kind of jerky, you can throw this on it. Do not just throw it on there and leave it. A lot of people do that, and that's why people hate it. You can put it on there, and it will get rid of it. But in this case, I kind of over-exaggerated it just to see what would happen. And sometimes whenever there's a lot going on in the foreground, it detects the foreground and the background to calculate how to stabilize. So it kind of mistook this for a lot of stuff happening, and it kind of was warping it around. And I actually liked the look of it, so I kept it.
Now I'm on a different level, y'all chickas afraid of heights. Every level, every...
Don't be afraid to mess around or experiment with plugins. If it looks good, it probably is good. Yeah, there's no real rule on how to use plugins. I mean, as long as your footage doesn't look terrible, as long as you can see what's happening, as long as it's like lit well, color corrected well, it's pleasing to the eye. If it makes the footage more interesting, absolutely use that.
Different level, y'all chickas afraid of heights. Every level, every dream, everything's a sacrifice.
Another cut there.
Everything's a sacrifice.
Now we're in the caution tape room.
Trying to get away.
Poor John. This was like at the end of the shoot here, and I actually have a clip. We took this take so many times because he had done these takes so many times that he was getting hoarse in his voice. And when we got to this part of the shoot, his voice started cracking. And here, let me show you a clip. Okay, so it wasn't actually the caution tape scene. It was the flower scene, as you can see here. I'm sorry, John. I have to. You can expose me in a video if you want.
Yeah, real driving, you know I'm vibing cause I...
It just makes shooting that much more fun when you can be real and just hang with your friends and be stupid and silly. But let's keep going.
Snap, can't hold me back, I'm in a race. I've been starving, I'm just trying to get this plate. Hey, forget the hate, it's a date with my fate. It's a chase, hey, oh boy, is she a winner? My lucky number 7, I ain't perfect, I'm a sinner. I'm just trying to get to heaven. I put my mind and soul, you took my heart and left it Kevin. Yo, this life is unforgettable, I'm thankful for the blessing. I know you unforgettable, never wanna let you go. Baby, we can take it slow. Baby, we can take it on the road. Baby, life is beautiful. I know that you're a miracle.
So this is that scene with the white backdrop again. In order to not reuse this clip multiple times and be obvious, it's always fun to mess around with your footage and find different ways that you can use your footage or reuse your footage in as many different ways as possible. So in this case, I just zoomed in on him, kind of did some like motion tracking with the position of the actual footage and mirrored him.
I just wanna ride like this, rooftop down with your vibe like this, yeah.
Yikes. Okay, so I'm actually not a fan of that. That's kind of really sloppy on my end. But what I was attempting there was like a whip pan, which was really popular during that time. It's kind of old now, but pretty much all you do is you just, when you have your camera, you rotate it really fast and you get that motion blur, and it's really easy to go into a different scene if you, in that other setting, do the same thing. So you can see that here. You can see that cut, but when you watch it in real time, it's really hard to tell, and it makes for a really cool transition.
Vibe like this, yeah, there ain't a time like this, yeah. I know that you've been searching, but you can stop the hurting cause you're perfect, perfect. And you are unforgettable, yeah.
Heavy warp stabilization right there, but it looks cool because it's kind of, the camera movement's really fluid and really stable, but it looks good.
I know you unforgettable.
Now this is where I really start reusing footage, but in different ways. So, for example, you'll see a ton of this, just in different ways that I utilized it.
Unforgettable. I know you unforgettable. Never wanna let you go.
Same shot, just rotating it by keyframing the position and the scale and the rotation.
Never wanna let you go. Never wanna let you go. Baby, we can take it.
Same thing, just a different way.
Baby, we can take it.
Now we're back on the piano shot with some warp stabilization. It's really, this shot's really cool because it looks like he's like on the water or floating or something.
We can take it slow. We can take it on the road. Baby, life is beautiful.
Same thing, just back to back to back, and just keyframing left to right in Premiere.
Baby, life is beautiful. I know that you a miracle. I know that you a miracle. I just wanna ride like this, rooftop down, we can vibe like this, yeah. And you are unforgettable,
yeah. Okay, dope. So we in with a B-roll shot of him just jamming out. Perfect transition back into that opening shot, but now moving in the opposite way, kind of backing out. And that makes for a perfect transition to in the video. And then, of course, we have John's logo, and we have my logo, and that is the video. So that's it, guys. That is a full breakdown on how I shot and edited John Joseph's remix of Unforgettable. I know it wasn't too heavily focused on the editing aspect, but leave a comment if that's something that you would like to see, the more technical side and step-by-step side of how to edit a music video or how I edit music videos. You can check out my Instagram. The links for my socials are all in the description. I'm posting there constantly. That is probably the best way to stay up to date and to see what content I'm putting out. Let me know if you like this video, if you would like to see more. I know for a fact that I'm putting out a new video in a week, going over step by step and how I shot and edited John Joseph's new video, Prodigy, which I got the honor to work on. It was amazing. It's a very, very cool concept. So if you haven't seen it yet, actually go to his page and watch it right now. It is so cool. The link to all of his socials as well are in the description. Yeah, so thanks so much. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. It'll help so much because I have nobody right now. So yeah, see ya. What was that? Who am I, Shane Dawson?